What's going on with the property market? The last 2 years have certainly not been normal conditions with all the change that's been happening in the market. But now with some clear signs of a slowdown happening, we see some evidence of that. Does that now mean we're going to head towards that crash that everybody keeps talking about? Hey, if you're watching my videos for the first time, my name is Saj Hussain, and on this channel I share with you my 15 plus years of property investing experience to ultimately help you get further faster in your own property investing business. Over the last year, we've seen property prices go through the roof and now starting to ease a little bit. Are they going to come tumbling down because what goes up must come down? Well, that would be the law of physics. In property, it's the law of economics that apply, and there are many factors that are impacting the property market. In this video, I want to give you the key things that impact the property market so you get a gauge of what's going to happen next in the property market. I sometimes get asked, what's my favorite market? Is it one that's rising quickly, or is it a flat market where there's no price rise and no price drops either? Or is it a falling market when prices are falling fast? And my answer has always been the same. It's a flat market. And the reason I prefer a flat market is because it's predictable. It gives some certainty. We know when we're doing a project in 6 months, a year's time, as we come out of that project, the market will still be relatively flat. In terms of we know what those values will be, we know what the prices will be. When the market's rising quickly, there's uncertainty because we don't know how fast it will rise, we don't know what the prices will be. At that point, we don't know what the demand will be or whether it's going to start to turn. And when the prices are falling, we don't know how sharp that price fall will be or how long that price drop will continue for. Essentially, the property market doesn't like uncertainty, and we certainly have had our fair share of uncertainty and change going on over the last couple of years. Right now, at the time of recording, we still don't know who the new Prime Minister is going to be of the country. It may be you're aware now as you're watching this because they've already announced a new leader, but all these things create uncertainty. When the new leader is announced, they will then release their policies in terms of their intentions, what they want to see happen with the country, the economy, and more importantly to us, how it's going to impact the property market. This of course will either create confidence in the market or it will create fear in the market. For example, let's say they were going to reduce some package in order to support affordability around buying property. That would then create confidence in the market, which would mean more people will be willing to go out and buy. On the other hand, an example of a policy that might create fear in the marketplace is, for example, rent controls, when the government wants to cap the rents that they will want to set. Now, I think that's unlikely to happen, but it's an example of how that can create fear in the market. In the investment community, people start thinking twice about holding property to rent out and they start selling, which of course then creates an oversupply in the market and the prices start to fall. Over the last few weeks, a lot of data has come to the market showing us that the market now has started to slow down. Whether that's Rightmove showing that the price is starting to fall, whether it's the land registry showing that the number of new property registrations is down, whether it's the Bank of England talking about the number of new mortgage applications is down, or whether it's Risk, the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, people that value our houses, talking about buyer demand falling. All of these things would lead us to believe that the market is going to be in for a massive slowdown. However, we need to take all of these things into context. First of all, these data that actually come to market, these stats, they're several weeks behind. It's not like the stock market where this data is live. We can see sudden movements and we can see reactions in that market. This data is several weeks old, if not sometimes a month or two behind. And also we have to take into context that now we're in the middle of summer. Summer, traditionally the property market tends to slow down a little bit. Many people are away on holiday. And in fact, you'll probably see there's been a lot more people away over the last few weeks, and maybe there have been over the last year, people taking the opportunity to be able to take a holiday. So there's generally just less activity. In my view, this data is just really reflective of that. The market traditionally slows down at this time of the year. Now, I'm not saying the market isn't changing, but what I am saying is we've got to look at this data in the context of what's going on in the market right now. The next thing to consider is the cost of living crisis that the country is facing right now. Many people are now starting to feel that they've got less money in their pocket, less disposable income, and really starting to feel that pinch. Because mortgage interest rates have gone up, that means the amount of money they're paying on their monthly mortgage payments has increased, leaving them less money. And even if they're renting, rents have gone up significantly in the last year. And what that means is, again, people have got less money to spend. And when they've got less money to spend, one of the first things that people tend to cut back on is leisure activities, nice to have things, rather than those that are absolute must. The things that they're having to spend more money on right now are things like your utility bills, food. These things are more expensive than they were, say, a year ago. And this is really due to global economic pressures. Things like Brexit will have an impact on this. The war in Ukraine will be having an impact on this. Gas prices going up through the roof. All of these things are then impacting impacting ultimately the amount of money each and every individual has left in their pocket at the end of each month. Many people are now already really concerned of how much of their pay packet is going to have to go on fuel and energy each month. Ultimately, what this does mean is that inflation is now been rising and been rising quite quickly. It's currently over 10%, the first time it's been in double digits for a very long time. What that really means is your spending power is being decreased. So for example, £100, what that will buy you today, in a year's time, that money would be worth 10% less. So effectively, you'd only be able to buy £90 of goods. Even though your pound notes still add up to £100, the buying power has now shrunk down to £90. The tools that the government and the Bank of England use to control inflation, to bring it back under control, is to increase interest rates. What they're trying to do is cut back on our expenditure, on our spending. So by spending less, what that does is starts to bring inflation back and starts reducing it, so the cost of things aren't going up as fast. Recently, the Bank of England has been increasing interest rates slowly and gradually, with a recent 0.5% increase, which has been the biggest increase for quite a long time. Interest rates now stand at 1.75%. This is the Bank of England base rate. A lot of money lending that happens, money that you borrow from the bank, mortgages, etc., that's really pegged to what's going on with the base rate that the Bank of England set. Ultimately, what that means for you and I when we're borrowing money from the bank, or mortgages, or businesses borrowing money, is costing them more money. So the costs start to rise. And really what the government is trying to do is encourage us to spend less so that it can get the economy under control. However, the most important part of this, which maybe the government isn't realizing, or maybe it does realize and it doesn't quite see how it's going to work out, is that most people are not spending money frivolously on things that are luxuries. They are struggling because they're spending more and more money on energy and fuel, essentially the basic necessities. On the positive side, demand for property is still relatively quite high. There's still a limited supply in the market. There isn't a huge amount of stock available. Mortgage interest rates are still, relatively speaking, quite low. Market rents are an all-time high, so from an investment point of view, it makes sense still to buy property and provide it as rental stock. And at the same time, employment figures are really high. All of these things are great news. However, what we need to realize is in the coming weeks, the Bank of England is likely to increase the interest rates once again. That means mortgage payments will again go up. And as we start getting into the colder time of the year, where people are using more gas, more electricity, their energy bills are going to go up as well. And so in the coming weeks, as we get closer towards the end of the year, we'll start seeing a change. And that change is the appetite to buy property will start to decrease. It will no longer be a priority. Buying a new home, moving house, getting onto the property ladder, buying that investment property, buying the next investment property, these things will no longer be important. And when that happens, what we'll see is there'll be more stock on the market with fewer buyers. Again, basic economics, more supply, less demand, prices will start to ease off, if not start to fall. Even with everything going on, if someone's got some appetite still to buy property, there's going to be the affordability challenge. The average house price in the UK is about £293,000 right now, with the average salary about £29,000. So that's almost 10 times price to earning ratio. So that means a typical house will cost 10 times the typical salary. Now, on a typical salary of about £29,000, you probably have to borrow about £130,000 ballpark. But when the bank and the lender are assessing you for your mortgage, they'll take into consideration your expenses. And if everything you're paying for, such as fuel and energy, is more expensive than it used to be, then they'll reduce the amount of money that they think you can comfortably afford to borrow, which means it brings down your ability to be able to borrow and buy property. The purpose of this video is not to scare you about what's going on in the property market, but really make you aware of all the different things that impact the market and how it can change. That way, by being aware of what's going on, it means you can spot the opportunities. And here's the important bit. There are opportunities to be had in every single market. Whether the market's rising, whether it's falling, or whether it's completely flatlining, there are opportunities to be had. However, the important thing is that you're using the right strategies at the right time to really benefit from what's going on in the market. Over the coming weeks and months, as the market changes, I'll be sharing more videos around the strategies to best use. What I'd love to know is what strategy you think will work well over the coming months. And hey, if you've enjoyed this video, it'd really help me out if you click on my face over here to subscribe to the channel. That way you won't miss out on any of the videos that we release, but also it just really helps me get the videos out to more people, because the algorithm will think, hey, if people are enjoying this video, we should really get it out to more people. And then what to do next is watch this video over here, where I talk about some of the more creative strategies around controlling property, because that's what I believe will be one of the best strategies to use in the coming months and maybe over the next year or two. So I look forward to seeing you on this video over here.